Hey guys, Stucky here. If you ever wanted to try the best version of the Action Network app? Well, now is the perfect opportunity to do so because we have a special offer to celebrate the month of March and the NCAA tournament. You can get pro access for just $9.99 for the first month. That will give you access to things like Sean Kerner's player prop projections, which are invaluable, real-time money percentages, and our model's biggest edges, and much more. All you have to do is head over to actionnetwork.com/madness. That's actionnetwork.com/madness and get there before the deal expires. Cheers. All right, Big West, not top 8, but 8 teams make it. Criminally, UC San Diego, which would have
Ridiculous.
been the 2 seed, is ineligible to compete. This is the dumbest, most archaic. We can't even compete in a conference tournament.
I think it's the only league that does this. Yeah, which is
Merrimack
ridiculous.
wasn't allowed in
First year?
their first year.
Yeah.
When
Then
they
let
won the
them.
league.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
They
crazy.
won the regular season title and couldn't. I kept. What is this rule? This rule needs to go.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Insane. UC San Diego, super fun offense. Will not be competing. UC Irvine is the #1 overall seed. 8 teams make this. This is the opposite of the MAC. So you have 8 teams in the MAC, all level playing field. This top 2 seeds double bye into the semis. UC Irvine and UC Davis. 3 and 4 seeds single buys into the quarters. That's Hawaii and Long Beach. In the first round, we get 2 matchups: UC Riverside taking on Cal State Bakersfield, and UC Santa Barbara taking on Cal State Northridge. We have all the UC schools. Will play each other in those first round games. UC Irvine, I'm seeing a -200 favorite. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I know they only have to win 2 games. I have them fair around like -150. Top 10 2-point defense under Russell Turner, as always, for UC Irvine. 8 of the past 9 seasons, top 10 2-point defense. They have the trees they always have trees at the rim. They'll have a 6'11" and a 7-foot guy. Offensively, they never shoot threes. They also never allow threes. So they just funnel you. You gotta live in the mid-range against them. They're also mid-range kings on the offensive end, post-heavy offense. I think that really good defense. They're the best defense. They just force you into inefficient shots in the league. 2 seed UC Davis, plus 450, 5-1, which I think is pretty close to fair. Super experienced team. Pick and roll heavy offense with great guards: Ty Johnson, Elijah Pepper. Heavy ball pressure D. They lost in overtime at Irvine and beat them at home. So they split in 2 super close games. So if you're going to tell me, do I want Irvine -200 or UC Davis 5-1? I'm taking UC Davis. And I love Elijah Pepper all day at 5-1 over Irvine. Would you agree at the top of the board?
Yeah, in terms of value, it's not even close for Davis. I do think Irvine's kind of head and shoulders above the league, but they're not worth a -200 price.
Agreed. Number 3 seed Hawaii. Keep in mind that Hawaii, UC Davis, those teams do benefit from like their tough travel trips.
Yeah.
When teams have to go there, especially on quick turnaround. Hawaii's plus 850. Hawaii, oddly, they shoot threes. They never allow them with their deep drop D. They have a ton of talent. Like, they arguably, like, just raw talent, are the most talented team. Just like if you have Coleman, McClanahan, who just came back, McCoy, De Silva. McClanahan, I'm not sure if he's right. I don't know what's going on with him this year. He did just come back, but he's just died. Is he hurt? Is he just died? What's going on there?
Clearly not 100%. Yeah, he's been sporadic the last several games after coming back from injury. Clearly trying to work him back in off the bench, but he just clearly is not himself right now.
Yeah, so Hawaii, no benefit of the home court advantage. They also, I don't like how they match up with. So they have a bye, but they'll play the winner of UCSB Northridge. And, UCSB's 20-1, one of the best mid-major players in the country, and AJ Mitchell leads their pick and roll rim attacking offense. They don't take too many threes. Cole Anderson's their shooter. but they have a really efficient offense when they don't turn it over. All the rest of the guys, that's Mitchell, turn it over way too much. But Mitchell is great, and they also just never get offensive rebounds. But he can take over a game. Their defense worries me a bit. They'll take away the three, funnel you into the lane, but they have no rim protection. They never force turnovers, so they're turning it over too much, and then they don't force turnovers, and they can't stop you at the rim, which is where they're forcing you to go. They're always losing the possession battle, which scares me. But UCSB starts with the Northridge 60-1, fast. Northridge runs up a fast, top 10 tempo, attack the rim at all costs, 99th percentile rim attacking offense. They never shoot threes, and it's good they don't because they can't make them. They do have a really compact defense. You have to beat them from the outside. They just pack everything in, which I guess is good from a long shot, like just increases shooting variance, but they don't shoot threes themselves. They lost 5 of 6 to close the year. I would think Santa Barbara wins that game. And Santa Barbara with Mitchell, he's just a nightmare for that Hawaii defense and the deep drop. And they swept Hawaii, I believe, easily this year.
They did.
So if on that bottom half, UCSB, much more intriguing to me than Hawaii, even though they'd have to win 4 games in 4 days. What do you see in the rest of the bottom half with Hawaii, UCSB, and Northridge?
Yeah, and Barbara's been frustrating this year. You keep expecting them to show up. Preseason, I think they were favorites in this conference, along with Irvine, and the defense has been just a disaster. It makes no sense with Mitchell, with Pierre-Louis, with Trior. I mean, that's a really talented top 3. It's probably the best 3 in the conference in terms of pure talent, but they just have not been good. Northridge scares me a little bit against them because Andy Newman is such a great coach, in my opinion. I do expect Babs to get past them. I expect them to get past Hawaii as well. You mentioned 2-0. Hawaii is not a good matchup for them, despite Hawaii being pretty hot right now. They've won 7 of 9, 9-3 since January 25th. I just don't think they match up well with Barbara. So expect UC Santa Barbara to come out of that half. Yeah, UC Davis, who knows? It seems like UC Santa Barbara forgets every time that they should be stopping Eli Pepper. And if that's the case again, Davis will probably beat them. But I think they can make it a game for sure, especially if they actually game plan for this one.
Yeah, Davis
kind of owned them in the season. Yeah.
Yeah, they swept Barbara. They won by 14 at home and won by 10 on the road. And yeah, they did split with Hawaii, but I also think that UC Davis with Pepper and Johnson, they can give Hawaii, they can do the same things to Hawaii that Mitchell could do. I just don't think this is a good, and I also think if Hawaii gets to the championship, they can't beat Irvine, I don't think.
No.
And they want to shoot a ton of threes. Irvine doesn't let you do that. Hawaii takes away threes. Irvine doesn't care.
Yep.
You have to beat Hawaii in the mid-range. That's where Irvine lives. So Irvine is just a terrible matchup for Hawaii. So Hawaii just has all these bad matchups all along the way. They just don't play like the ideal defense for some of the teams that they face in this league, in my opinion. Would you agree with that?
I do agree. Yeah, their kryptonite is basically the entire bottom half of the bracket. So it was a tough draw for Hawaii in this conference.
Before they even get to Irvine.
Before they even get to Irvine. Yeah, and Irvine beat them by 25 last game. So it's a tough matchup all around.
Yeah. They lost to Irvine by 10 at home, which is telling, and then 25 on the road. So are you saying any value? If you had to take one team, are you taking Davis 5-1 or Barbara 20-1?
I prefer Barbara 20-1.
I would agree. In the top half of the bracket, I already mentioned Irvine. They are the favorite. They also would have it's worth mentioning, they'll have an easier semifinal game. If UC Davis has to play a Hawaii or Barbara, I think that's a tougher matchup than what Irvine will get if the chalk holds. It would be Long Beach State, the 4 seed. They're 11-1. They lost 5 straight to close out the year. So
stumbling.
They're fast. They want to play fast. They want to run 99th percentile transition rate. They run Munson runs a zone press defense, force a lot of turnovers. But they give up a ton of threes, ton of open looks in the perimeter. If you don't turn it over, you can score on them. And they also can't shoot. So that's problematic. I guess, giving up a ton of threes, maybe it increases your variance a little bit, but they can't shoot, stumbling down the stretch. I can't make a case for Beach at this price. Could you?
No. Irvine crushed them both games. I don't see them getting past there. I think Beach is a pretty good matchup for Riverside. Riverside wants to shoot, but they really can't. So Beach is fine with them taking threes, and they agree to disagree, or or both sides want to do or do what the other wants them to do. The problem is Riverside can't really shoot, and Beach beat them twice pretty easily during the regular season. So I don't think they're worth it. I think Irvine kind of waltzes to the championship game.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Riverside. You bring up a good point. Riverside 45-1, really improved team.
And a great coach too, Mac Pyle.
Yeah, great coach. Over the past, let me check, since so if you go to Torvik, you can filter for split difference since February 1st. So the games after February 1st, if you compare them to all the games after, the most improved teams in the country post February 1st, Little Rock, they got Mitchell, and we saw them make a run to the conference final. UMBC, who should have beat UMass Lowell.
Mm-hmm.
UT Arlington, who we'll talk about with the WAC, and then Riverside. So Riverside is, since February 1st, 16th in adjusted offensive efficiency.
Wow.
They're definitely improved. They don't turn it over, which is good against Beach. Kyle Owens is also hurt. I don't know his status. They do clean up the glass. They're deep. They have lots of size inside to burn. But you mentioned that. I'm looking at their matchups against Long Beach. They lost by 8 and lost by 12 at home because they're jump shooters. The jump shooting offense, they can't score inside, but they're not efficient shooters. So while they don't turn it over, it's not the best matchup for them, even though they're really improved. So like from a Flyer perspective, because they shoot a ton of threes and they are playing better, they're well coached. Maybe you find like a 50-1 just couch change, but that Beach, you got to go. Beach is in a good matchup. Irvine is a juggernaut.
Beat him
It's
once,
tough to make a
but
case.
still beat him once, but
Yeah.
still, yeah. I don't expect him to do it again.
Then Bakersfield, 50-1.
No.
I'll tell. I hate Bakersfield. Rod Barnes. They're first of all, they're a snail, so they're super slow, which is I guess a good thing for a long shot. They want to grind the game down to a halt. The bad thing is you're not going to get any 3-point variance because they never ever shoot threes. They just try to live on the offensive glass. Can't really say anything much else great about Bakersfield. No interest in them, right?
Zero. Absolutely zero.
My pick to win this, I'm going with my guy Elijah Pepper and UC Davis.
Okay, nice. I'm going Irvine. I'm going Irvine, and I expect them to give a 5 seed a real challenge in the tournament too.
Yep. Yeah, with the way that Irvine plays defense, I remember I loved them against Kansas State. Right?
Yeah.
Didn't they play Kansas State?
That's right. Yep. Yeah. I get them and Barbara confused in the tournament a lot.
And it was just a dream matchup against Kansas State. I think because Kansas State, everything they wanted to do was at the rim, if I'm recalling that matchup. And you can't do that against Irvine. You got to have guys like the thing with Irvine, like the teams that can beat Irvine are like UC Santa Barbara. They just didn't compete with them this year. But a guy like Mitchell,
Hmm.
and then UC Davis, they have, the guards in Johnson and Pepper in their pick and roll and living in the mid range. Like that's what you need.
Yep.
You can't be 3-point reliant. You can't be a team that tries to work in the post or work at the rim. So I think the only real teams that could beat UC Irvine are UC Davis and UC Santa Barbara. Would
Yep.
you agree with that?
I would agree. Absolutely.